from don't make it out. I know that I'm blessed. There's a few L's and millions, so turn that loss to a chance.
Yeah. Sarah Albert, Shay Jenkins, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
That was kind of weird.
Awful.
Yeah, that was so weird.
I haven't seen you in so long.
I know, it's been a while.
Making too.
I know.
Schedule
We almost did it today, but we pulled through. I think thanks to you, you kind of were the...
I was like, no.
You made it happen.
No, I don't care about your kid. I don't care about court. You're picking it, not rescheduling again.
So for those of you that don't know, Sarah Alberts and Shay Jenkins, they run a branch with...
New American Funding.
Yep. Tell us about your branch. Tell us how long you've been in the mortgage business.
Yeah. I've been in the business for 12 years. She's going on 7-ish, 8-ish. Yeah. We have a branch down kind of by McGregor Square in the heart of the city, which is super fun. Small group of people. There's 6 of us now. 7
with us.
All women.
Awesome.
All women, but yeah, we have.
Like, is that intentional or is that
no.
just ended up that way so far?
It just kind of ended up that way.
Okay.
I think that's kind of like the energy that we put out. Very like I'm empower women focus, but we've had, a male on our team before. We're open to it. Absolutely. But I just think it's kind of like the essence.
But I feel like it could be kind of like the cheerleading squad where like the dudes that do come onto the team though, they're lucky, right? Like everybody else is looking at them going, damn, how do I get a spot on that cheerleading team?
No, it's fun. But we teamed up about 3 years ago, opened up the branch a year later, maybe 6 months later.
6 months later.
Yeah.
Okay. So it didn't take and I'm always curious, like when, especially like we go back, like you said, gosh, we've known each other for what, 15 years or something like that. So
I think I started
maybe 10.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah. Something like that.
2014, 2015.
So let's see. What happened is I was working with Dan over at Spire, and then it was like maybe a year into that or something. I think you were working with.
I was at Cross Country, or not Citywide.
Citywide at the time, right?
Yep.
And then you were looking to make a move.
Yep.
And I think you came in, and I was right at about the point where I'm like, dude, I need fucking help, and it's got to be somebody that's not. Like working, and somebody that's not working with like 10 other people. And I was feeling like I was at that point in my business. So when she came in, I was like, okay, dude, here's the deal. We're going to, for a while. Yeah.
But that was like the OGs of us, because there was you and maybe 3 other LOs at that point. And I was kind of an assistant with maybe 4. I was assistant for each of them. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you were on that brink, because I remember Dan Brown was like, if you hit, I think it was $3 million a month was the goal. He was going to take you to Germany, which I know he never did. Remember that? He was like, I'll fly you to Germany or somewhere in Europe.
I think it was 5 million, and I think he was going to follow through on that and then didn't. But I don't want to say it's because he backed out of it. I want to say it's that, I don't know. I'm one of those guys where like, that's what motivates me. But it's like once I accomplish the thing, I just never felt like I knew what kind of an expense that was going to be for him. And like, yeah, sure, I made it money, but I don't know. I just felt like sometimes maybe that was taking advantage of people. And I think it ended up coming out in a different way. I think he bought clothes or somehow he ended up doing some shit for me that was instead of going to Germany.
Germany.
Well, now I would too, but.
Funding if you want to take us to Germany. I'm here for it.
No, I'm just kidding. But that was a fun time, because we had that small little building on Platt Street, and it was just like the core people that and then we blew up from there. Remember that?
That was right when it was like coming out of kind of the crash almost from 2008. It was still like it was starting to pick up. Now it was like picking up, and I'm just going, okay, I need to get some help, because I don't know how I'm going to grow this thing without it. And she walked in, and then, and then ever since. And then you transitioned with us to the AmeriFirst offices as well. But I've sort of what happened after that? So when you left AmeriFirst, where did you go? And then when did you two meet? Like, when did you come into the picture? Because
I've always been in the picture.
Yeah, so you can tell a little bit about our backstory, or just a brief history.
Brief history. We met in college in 2007. In 2007, we met in college, and we became best friends, complete opposites. Became best friends. I kind of followed her around in her career choices. And one day I was so upset with
Does
my
that
job.
mean that you like white men?
It's not.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Latino?
Come on, guys, listen up. Listen
Latinos,
up. Ah, Latino.
Latinos are
Okay.
yeah,
All right. What is it about Latinos that you like?
problem. The
Really?
way that they treat me is so good.
Uh-huh. Really?
No.
Oh. Uh-huh. So I hear that Latinos, so I've been married to 2 Latinas, and I hear that Latinos they can be very possessive.
They're very
Okay?
machismo.
Listen, don't shit on me if you're a Latino listening to this, but this is what I hear. Yeah, very machismo.
I love it. It's what I'm attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's also the community that you grew up in a little bit more.
It's the community that I grew up in. It's what I grew around.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like what I know.
Where'd you grow up?
Inglewood.
Right here.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Inglewood. I think LA.
Cali.
Yeah, because
He's from Cali.
I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Inglewood's a little ghetto.
Inglewood, but it was a melting pot for sure. And I just yes.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
It's what I like, but I think I'm gonna try to switch it up.
Yeah.
But back to it, yeah. So we became best friends in high school and
In college.
yeah, sorry,
Okay.
college.
We became best friends in college. I kind of followed her around on her career path.
Yeah.
So what were you doing when she was in the mortgage business, but you hadn't got into it? What were you doing?
Yeah, I had just transferred to be a technical recruiter.
Okay.
For like people who make $200 an hour, and I was making like $20 an hour. And when I would call them, they're like, $200 isn't enough. And I was like, I fucking hate my life.
Were you actually responsible for like converting them into signing?
Correct.
Wow. So you weren't like the setup person. They were paying you $20 an hour
I would be
do
on
the whole
like
thing?
LinkedIn, and I would be searching for like JavaScript and like blah, 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 and I'd call them and be like, hey, I have a job at Comcast for you for $200 an hour. And they're like, that's not enough. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing wrong with my life, right? Where this isn't enough. So I called her. We were actually at like a Selena Gomez concert, and I just got wasted. And I was crying to her about how unhappy I was. And she's like, look, I'm going to tell you once. Go get licensed to be a loan officer. Once you're licensed, I'll help you get established. And she's like, don't cry to me. I was like, okay. So the next day, I signed up for my classes, took my test, failed, had to wait a month, called her crying after just bawling because I could not go back to being a recruiter, but I did. Passed the second time, and then she hooked me up with Carlos Ruiz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
So when I left Citywide, I worked with Carlos and the LO I was working for at the time. And then when she was getting her license, I was already at AmeriFirst, but we weren't hiring for another LOA, right? So I'm like, okay, our team is pretty solid. Like we didn't have the room to grow. So I hooked her up with an LO that I did know from Citywide.
Okay.
But nobody
and got her into it that way. Yeah.
Nobody wanted to hire me because I didn't have experience. So Carlos was the only one who was willing to hire me, but he did Spanish speaking loans only. And I do not speak Spanish. Regardless,
I speak it now. Pretty much. I'm like 90% because it's the only language we speak in my house.
Yeah, his wife is where's she from?
She's Chilean.
That's right.
Everything that you're saying right now.
Yeah.
I feel like we could be best friends.
Yeah, we probably could be. Yeah. I'm an easygoing guy. I'm easy to get along with, but I'm not Latino.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, so we made it a thing where, hey, like you're only gonna speak Spanish, I'm only gonna speak English, and like even though that's her native language, it was still like she admitted there were still some challenges because even she doesn't speak it all the time, so she had to like relearn kind of how to speak it properly. But fortunately, like she speaks it. Our house manager is from Chile as well. I don't know how we worked that out, but she only speaks Spanish to the kids. And then like her mom, who's here local. Yeah. So there's a lot of just Spanish influence in the house, and it's forced me to have to. I find myself speaking. No, I don't think so, because I'm not really applying it to business yet. But I think once I feel a little bit more confident in, like my issue is understanding like past present and future tenses, and there's still some verbs that like I'm not. Yeah, but like I can communicate the point, but I have to like use words that sort of describe it in a present tense kind of way.
Estoy, estás, están.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
But here's the biggest thing, like I would say, even if you're taking what is it, Babbel, or you're doing Rosetta Stone, or all that stuff's good, but it's like until you're forced into a situation where you have to speak it. Yeah, I think it's challenging as an adult to learn a language, and I'm living with it, and it's still hard. Yeah, right.
But then I think applying it to business, the financial terms are so different and can get intertwined in a very different way. Exactly. You know, so it's hard to apply it to mortgages because I was similar. And
you said $400, no, 400,000.
Yeah. That's how it is. It's so loans. It's literally Google Translate. So I literally learned loans through Google Translate.
See, Carlos was a smart dude because I've hired people. I'll never forget. It was actually when I first went over to cross country. The first company I was with is called Countrywide, and like I get those two confused still to this day. Yeah, Citywide, right? I know.
Intertwined.
But when I first went there, I was looking to hire an LOA, and I found this girl who was Spanish speaking. She had 6 years of experience as a processor. She had processed every type of loan there was. I interviewed her, and other than like seeming a little timid, like I'm like, okay, but shit, 6 years and she knows how to do all these loans. But I never did like a working interview. So she sold herself. She comes on board, and dude, I'm like, are you a fucking idiot? I mean, I couldn't help but think like, what the fuck did I just do? This is crazy. Like you've been processing for 6 years and you don't even know how to calculate a 3.5% down payment.
It's hard, right? I think that people do not understand how hard mortgages is. No. And even being in the business on whatever side of it, it's a completely different side, right? Ops is completely different than sales. Totally different set of skills. But anyways, when I told her, I was like, I vouched for her. I was like, Carlos, trust me, smart girl. She's so good with people. She's very good at sales. Like she's got the thing that is needed to be an LOA. And he's like, all right, I will take a chance. Remember we went and sat and had lunch with him? Yeah. And so, I mean, that's why we're completely different, right? Because I'm very good at the ops side, but I do understand the sales side. I just don't like the sales part of it. And she is very good at the sales part of it. I'm very good
I see that. Like I see that just barely meeting you, but it's like, so when you thought she would be great as an LOA at the time, was that because like, are you detail oriented or just task oriented? Or?
Well, I needed to have a base pay because I was supporting a family. And so I couldn't go just commission only. So I wanted to start as an LOA. And I actually was an LOA, not for Carlos. We kind of transitioned, but I was an LOA for 5 years. And Sarah was working at US Bank, you know, which is like, you don't really have to prospect because there's some coming in, but she busted them out because she's so fucking smart.
So that's when, so then going back to the question, I left AmeriFirst and went to US Bank. So AmeriFirst, I was an LOA the whole time. That's right. At US Bank.
Oh, you went to US Bank right from AmeriFirst.
Right from AmeriFirst. And I transitioned to be a loan officer from there. So it was basically kind of like, going from salary and making good money on multiple people's loans to now commission only.
But I feel like that would probably be a perfect marriage for you because they're providing the leads, right?
That's why it worked so good for me. I sat at 2 branches in Arvada, which I am an Arvada native. I knew the community, I knew the city, I was able to connect with the people that came into the branch. And so, people would just walk in and be like, I need to talk to this mortgage girl. And I'm like, hey, I'm here. God, how can I help you? Right? Like, I don't have to bust ass talking to agents. Nice. Yeah. So I did that for 3 years and it served me my purpose and it served me very well. Right. I worked in divisions of the wealth management, got to have that big, those big jumbos and all of this clientele from first-time home buyers to wealthy people and just completely know all aspects of the mortgage business. So it was the perfect transition for me in my career into becoming a loan officer and being out on my own.
And by the way, guys, Sarah is a fucking badass. Like, I mean, you were the person I sought out to help with my purchase.
Yeah.
Because I knew you were good on the back end, and I knew that you were in a capacity at US Bank, but once I knew you were doing jumbo there, I was like, oh dude, I gotta have her hook.
And you had a unique situation that not a lot of lenders can do, right? Because he had a very unique property, and
which made me a bunch of money, by the way.
I know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Found it, dude. Yeah. but yeah, we had to kind of go about it in a unique way in a loan product that you don't see very often, which is called like a blanket loan. You probably don't. That's shit. Yeah. That's what she does. Yeah. But so
you
I was
just bring them in, girl. You reel them in, and she closes them. I like it. Okay, I see what's going on.
Yeah. So I was at US Bank for a while, and I loved it. I mean, I was, I became a mom at the time, and then COVID hit, and I was just cranking out loans with US Bank clients and making
let's give her a little bit. She was in her labor. She was in labor.
What?
Kids, dude.
No.
She was in labor. And she was literally taking calls, and she had her laptop on her belly. She was working.
Yeah.
Were you really?
While she was in labor, she didn't take one day of maternity.
Holy shit.
Take one day of maternity.
I tell you, she's a baddie.
Tell me what you were like.
She was that money?
Yeah.
Money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was the one who, supported the family at the time. And I knew, because you know how hard, if you take a day off in loans, 60 days from now, you're not really going to have a paycheck, right? And I'm like, fuck, dude, like, I'm just going to keep cranking it. Like, I can handle this. I can do the whole newborn thing. And then COVID hit and shit got wild. Because I had him in January and COVID hit in March, and then it was just like popping.
So what did you do? Like, did you have family to help take care of?
I did. I do most of it on my own. I mean, I do.
But you were able to work from home, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was luckily, like, like newborns, they just chill and sleep all day. Yeah. So he'd just be in the swing, and I'd just be like, on my couch, like cranking loans out. And then he got into a daycare at 6 months old. And
cool.
So that's kind of the thing it is now. But yeah, so kind of in the middle of COVID, her and I started just kind of chatting, and like she's like, I don't know if I want to be in LOA anymore, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to be at the bank anymore. We were
both making six figures.
Yeah,
we were comfortable.
Great, right? The bank is great, but your bips are about half of what you get paid on the retail side, right? So I'm like, can I make more? And it's like,
are you still doing pricing exceptions with the bank and making less of a commission? Yeah,
I think the most she could make was like 60.
I was at 65. I want to say 65 to 70 bips per loan.
Okay.
So
some of them would be like 30.
Right. Yeah. But it served my purpose, and then her and I decided, she's like, let's just team up together and create this little power team.
We went to Napa and got hammered.
Yeah. And that's what started
is what she's trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then it's been great ever since, right? I was like, this can go one way or the other with a best friend that I've known for 17 years, and going into business could either crash and burn or thrive and grow, and it's thriven and grown. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we started in April of 2021, so just a little over 3 years, and then by like November, September, we had our own branch. And we complement each other so well. Like she can do sales for sure, and I could do loans, but she's so much better. Her brain is so beautiful. It's like the beautiful mind. See, that's like her with loans, right? And then I'm like, I kind of got the sales on lock.
So talk to me a little bit about that, because I feel like just where the industry's at right now. I mean, I ask everybody this because I'm like, God, is this just me? But shit's hard. I feel like it's hard. It's more difficult than it's been.
Well, think
in
about
15 years for me.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Think about the role of a loan officer, though, right? Like, we have to sell, and we have to be so client-based, but then we also kind of have to pre-underwrite things in a sense. You know what I mean? You have to understand how to close. I know.
It's like what you were saying earlier about people don't understand really how difficult it is, and then to be a successful originator, because you're not just selling, you have to be a fucking amazing marketer. Yep. I almost feel like now marketing is more valuable than sales, right? Because if I could call any LO and I could say, hey, are you willing to come over to the branch? I'm going to give you 50 leads a month, right? Yeah. And these are legit leads. Like, if I had the marketing figured out, then the sales, you can teach it, I think, easier than you can. So you got to be good at marketing. You got to be great at sales.
You
and
gotta,
listen,
you gotta connect with people though.
There's still an art to sales and a science to it, but yeah, it's either you have it, like you have it clearly, or you don't have it. But then also you got to know ops, you've got to know like financials, accounting, like guideline. Yeah, there's so many nuances to it the client only experiences one teeny tiny aspect, and it's what's so challenging because it's how they've managed to try to commoditize the industry by just saying, what's your rate? Right. And we've got to have a fucking bucket of 1,000 ways to overcome that objection, tee up the sale from the beginning. We got to make sure that we're kind of getting their commitment. Did you guys ask for the commitment ever yet? Like before? I think I asked you this a while ago.
I know. It's back and forth.
It depends. Like real quick, we just won this one last week. I'll make it a quick story. It was a veteran, and he was comparing us against USAA.
Okay.
USAA is like, I'm going to get you 6 1/8 with no points. This is before interest rates went down. And I told him, send me that fucking loan estimate. I promise you're paying points. No, I'm not. And I said, okay, well, if you're not, then they're not going to get you closed on time because you're closing in 2.5 weeks. Guarantee you that USA will not close you on time. And so he sent me the loan estimate, paying $6,000 in points. I come back at a 5.99.
And they're still not going to close it on time.
I come back with a 5.99. I lowered my commission all the way, right? Not charging him any points. He's like, yeah, you know what? Look, I'm still going to go with USAA. And I was like, all right, good luck.
Peace.
Right? Peace. Came back. USAA can't get my shit closed on time. The selling agent will not extend the date. We got to clear to close in 6 days, close in 8 days.
Nice.
But that's what it's like, you know, like we know what the fuck we're doing, right? And so, like, if you want to talk to me about rate,
what's shitty about it is that you had to not make money in order to win.
Exactly.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, we still got it back, and we still had a lower commission. But that's what's hard, right? Like, everybody knows how to shop rates. Like, it's a thing that people do, and what I wish that we could educate the general public on is understanding what goes behind it. What is behind closed doors? What does it take? How many people does it take to actually close a loan, right? It's not just us that you see up front. It's
about 25
6 people behind us, right?
Who's servicing your loan? How important it is to
thing.
get it done? Your earnest money going home. There's like, but I get it because inflation, everything's so fucking expensive. Like, I would probably do the same thing if I didn't know.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
I would go to the lowest one and be like,
who do you
don't
think
sell
though?
me on your service. Like,
like you just said, if you didn't know, okay, so if you didn't know, and I would agree, I would do the same thing. If I don't know, I'm probably looking online. I'm talking to a buddy that was introduced to me or something. I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to use my big brain to figure out what's going to be the best deal, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, if it's somebody that really doesn't know, and they know that they don't know, but they're trying to act like they do, or they're trying to find that best deal, who do you think ultimately wins? Like, who's the LO that wins that deal?
The person who's got the best rate.
I think it's the one with the most confidence.
The most.
Now, look, you can't be way off.
Yeah.
Right? Like, listen, if somebody's quoting 6 1/4 and I'm at 7 1/4, then best rate wins. Right? But if I'm at 6 1/2 and they're at 6 1/4 or something, like maybe even 0.375, I think it's just knowing what the fuck they're going to experience and believing it. Because sometimes I find myself like, God, do I even believe what I'm saying anymore? And I have to like check myself, right?
Yeah. It's a thing, but then like that kind of goes back to not the sales aspect it, because I hate sales. I don't hate it. I just don't love it. I don't appreciate the cheesiness around it. You know, that's why I'm so direct and so just like, I am like straight into the point. And I come off as a confident person. I know what I'm talking about. And I actually had a similar situation where like this person is going against what you said. And I'm like, you need to ask him this question, because I guarantee you he's not going to get you approved for this amount. And she was like, okay, I get it. I'm going with you. So I think you're not wrong in the confidence piece of it.
And we divvy up our leads that way. So like the wealth management, the tougher, more like black and white, get to the core. Sarah takes those all days.
Okay.
The lovey-feely first-time home buyers, let me hold your hand and coddle your baby. That's me.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, we're both good at both of them. But
so what are you doing right now to prospect, Shay?
I'm on social media.
Okay.
Like crazy. So I see.
Yeah, because you guys have a podcast as well.
We have a podcast.
What's the name of your podcast?
Ground Up, from the ground up.
Yeah. And actually, before we get too much further into this, where can people find you guys?
I mean,
on social,
all of our social handles. I mean, it's Shay and Sarah, so it's S&S Mortgage Team.
Okay.
So just look up S&S Mortgage Team. You know, we have a YouTube, we have Facebook, we have TikTok, we have Instagram, and then for our podcast, it's From the Ground Up or Ground Up Podcast. We co-host it with Sean Nealon, who's a pretty big agent here. Again, just from the ground up.
I love Sean. Sean's awesome. I actually just ran into him at Armbrest. I had just gotten a membership there, and I was there in the morning. I was like, shit, Sean Nealon.
But we did we started the podcast with him, and we're on episode 69. So we've done one a week.
Did you know you were about to say 69?
69.
Did you plan that, or?
The reason our guest yesterday was episode 69. He was like, "Oh, what a great episode!" And I was like, Jesus. So you're not wrong on that. But no, it's been fun. We started it.
You're just gonna tell every time you go on a podcast. That's the episode you're on.
Exactly. And we're gonna end it here. No more podcasts after this.
That's it.
No, but we started as like talking to real estate agents and how they grew their business, and then we opened it up to actual like other business owners in the community, and that's where I started loving it and seeing,
that's cool.
You know, like beauty spot owners or
psychic mediums.
Psychic mediums. Yeah, it was crazy. My favorite, just because I have a low-key obsession with her, is Homes by Haley.
Okay. I've seen her shit.
I think she's the most adorable human being. I think she's so well put together. I love her business. I know, and she's got the cutest little girl. I was
thinking you were going to say somebody outside of the real estate business.
That's probably it. I know who yours is.
What about yours?
Who would you say?
Kim.
Yeah, the psychic medium.
Really? Cool. Did she do a reading for you?
But here, I mean, she's read me.
She's multiple times. Yeah.
Pretty fucking, like, I've been there with a fake name, fake email. I was like, you are not Googling me. You are not to know shit. And like,
she was like, a man named Jesus will ask you to marry him soon.
No, but I went in there with a specific thing that I needed help with. And that's like the first thing that came up. And she got me good. She got me good. And I was like, you need to come on this podcast because your gift like saves people. You know,
that's cool.
So that was pretty cool. But we smooge and we talk to real estate agents all day, every day. So when we decided to take it outside of real estate, and we still have we had a really big fix and flipper on there yesterday, wholesaler, and we still kind of keep in the real estate realm and have agents on here and there. But it's just for anybody who's a badass who started from the ground up and built themselves a business. So that's cool. So that helps with prospecting to kind of circle back around to that. And then
what about you? Who's been your favorite guest you've had on?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good
and is
question.
It all in the industry that you have?
No, same thing. So like one of my pillars of business is VIPs, right? Which is basically other business people. So it starts with like financial advisors, CPAs, those types of people, right? But then now it's branched off. I would say there are so many good ones. I think we're on episode like 35 now, but
do you do one a week? Or just
we just launched it about a month ago.
Good for
But the
you.
reason we have so many is because in my mind I thought what I don't want to do, because I know myself, I don't want to like if I'm traveling or the team's not in here or I'm sick or just if there's any reason to like not be able to do it. Like could you imagine if I'm like, fuck, I got to film with Sarah and Shay and then we cancel like 3 times. Yeah. And then I'm like, there's pressure to have that go live. Yeah. So we ended up, my goal was I want 6 months worth of episodes with us dropping one a week before we launch. Yeah. And so we did like 6 a week. Smart. We were doing like 6 a week for like a few months.
Yeah. Dang. That's it's a lot.
Now we're doing like last week I had 4, this week I would have 3, but I'm going to California tomorrow. So yeah, I would say like a good schedule is 1 or 2 a week, right? But now that we've got that library we can pull from, it's
kind of nice that you have a setup here. We have to go to the DTC all the way down there once a week, but it's good. I love it. It's gotten our name out into the business, and I'm sure you're maybe seeing the same thing.
Yeah, it's just good for content. Like I was kind of one of those guys where I was like, you know, I hate social media. I don't want to be on it. I didn't have an interest in it. And like, I've done a complete 180 on that. Like now I believe that the person that's not sharing, they're actually the ones with the big ego. Because if you really think about ego is what protects us against shame and embarrassment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's the dude that's like in the elevator that's worth $1 billion that's like keeping to himself, not wanting to share his secrets, that's got the big fucking ego.
Yeah.
Right? But like if you guys have an amazing story. Like if you're somebody that has a story and you're not sharing it out there, you could save somebody's life. Like you could really help somebody. And as soon as I started to see it that way, I felt like I had a purpose and there was a bigger reason to do it. And it took it off of like, took it off of like me trying to be this, but I struggle, I talk with Gavin about this, like value versus vanity. Right. And I'm like, we disagree a little bit. I believe you've got to bring a ton of value, but also I believe sometimes you've got to give people what they want before you give them what they need. Right. Yeah. Sometimes they're going to be attracted to the fucking Lambo and the Rolex and the Louis Vuitton purse and like the lifestyle. Right. Yeah. It's like the reason I think most real estate agents and most people in our business don't have a great personal brand is because they're focused too much on educational videos that have to do with real estate, or hey, look at the real estate stats from this week, or look at what's happening with mortgage rates. Now,
you gotta be yourself.
You can do that shit once a week or twice a week, but if you're pushing out like legitimate content, which to me is like you're doing 7 pieces a week, you've got to have probably 2 of those be lifestyle, 2 of those personal story, 2 of them mortgage related or real estate related, right?
Exactly.
So because people want the TMZ version of your life, right? Like and they want to see you at a bar, get a little tipsy and like fall off your fucking bar stool. Like, you know what I mean? They want to see that shit. Cause
I think you are so spot on with that. And when we teamed up, she's a social media queen. I am not. I kind of keep to myself in a sense. Like my personal life is my life, but I put it out there. But the content that we put out is, yes, it's educational. Yes, it's funny. Like me just fucking with her in the office all the time. Yeah. And then just us out and about doing things. And the things that we heard, like, oh my God, I saw this video that you guys posted and it's all of our like, me pranking her. Like people love the like the realness of it.
Do you know?
So you have to have like a whole combined of like, here's our personalities, here's our different personalities, right? Because we're completely different. And going back to us coming from 2 walks of life, she gets so many of a lot of our clients are friends that she's grown up with, and they're like, we see you doing so good and you made it out of the hood and we want you to help us. And like it's just cool to see the 2 walks of life that we have come together and help people who are also in different, it's just
so fucking much.
Oh, I love you.
If you wait until the end, they're gonna make out.
She's gonna propose. But that's what makes this business fun. But it's also so hard. It is the hardest it's been in 12 years that I've been doing it. Hardest it's probably been for you. How are you keeping up and surviving? And
I'm literally doing everything I possibly can. And I think so much of it is mindset. And so I'd be curious to know your guys' opinion on this, because I go back and forth on it. There's the train of thought that, hey, even when you don't feel like it, do it anyway. Okay. Yeah. Even when you don't feel like it, do it anyway. Hey, you got to make calls today, whatever you committed to, if it's, 20 calls every day or whatever that number is that you've committed to, you're going to have days where you don't feel like it. And so fucking just get over it and go do it anyway. The other way of thinking, which is I go back and forth. I'm not like committed to either path, but the other way of thinking is like, well, wait a minute. If I'm really feeling shitty, like mentally, I think I don't like to say this, but I mean, I think everybody has struggles with some level of depression at some point or anxiety, because we're in a business where we're trying to achieve this ultimate level of success. And when you can't reach that, I think it's just natural to like, I don't feel great. Down. Right. So
you blame yourself. I know I do.
Yeah. Same. Yeah. But so there's that side of it where it's like, I've got to practice some real self-honesty and go, okay, is this me just being lazy because I don't want to have to call, 40 agents today or whatever it is? Or is this like, I'm really fucking not feeling good? Yeah. And if I'm really not feeling good, I mean, my team knows, like I'll take the day off. Yeah. Like I'll be out of the office half the day.
You do. Those mental health days are thing, especially for people who do struggle with the similar things that you do. But you can, I mean, say on this, but that's why it's so beautiful to have somebody that you love and trust and respect to be on your side of things, because we hold each other accountable, right? And when she's down, I'm there to pick her up, and when I'm down, she's there to pick me up. And so
that's awesome.
It's kind of just because it's been a trying like 2-3 years, you know.
Fuck.
But hey, this too shall pass. Like we'll all come out of it. I feel like anytime you're in a moment in time where you're just like everybody's feeling like, fuck, when is this going to let off, right? Like when are we going to get some help from rates, right?
When we can get some fucking
refis. I mean, dude, that used to be not half of my business, but like probably over 30% for sure. And now it's non-existent.
And it was easy. It was easy. I think we had one refi last year, and we're like, what? How do we even structure this?
I know. Yeah, I know. You're like, what do I do with my hands?
Seriously.
So, but be careful what you wish for, though, because that shit's gonna come. It's gonna come, and when it comes, like now's the time to prepare with systems to make sure you've got here's how we're doing it with every single person every single time to make sure you can stack your calendar with back-to-back refi appointments instead of like what I used to do is all over the place. So then my mind's going from refi to purchase to agent meeting to now I've got to Zoom and learn I'm doing or whatever it is, podcast. And so you're kind of all over the place. Now it's just stacking, and we'll do it probably Thursday. So every Thursday, depending on how many we have, it'll be, 10 to 4 p.m. back to back. We'll make 45 minutes for each person and just crank them out that way. And then I'm done with refis for the week. Right.
Yeah, you do.
We just bust it out as it comes. I mean, we're pretty good with time management, but I don't think we like time block like that. And I know Gavin would probably be like, what the fuck? But with two of us,
and we do have a great assistant, but I also think that I'm not going to say anything about gender roles, but I think women have abilities to multitask, and being a single mom on top of that, I'm literally at all moments in life like do like, and my brain just kind of comes back and connects. But it is a thing. I mean, it's going to be busy. It's going to be busy, but I'm I didn't think that refis would ever not be a thing, right? And so now it's been purchase focused for 2-3 years, almost 4 years.
That's what needed to happen, though. I feel like we needed to be humbled,
For sure.
Because shit was so easy, and we just money. Like, you want to go on a trip? Okay, cool. Go. Fuck. You. It's like, I mean, we budgeted, but my God, not like now. And so I feel like we needed to be dumbed the fuck down. Like, hey, shit can happen and shit can turn quick. And now you need to focus on your priorities, like budgeting, making sure you're paying your bills, working with agents, not relying on agents.
Wait, you weren't paying your bills before? I know what you mean.
No, I'm saying, but like, it's changed the sales process for us. It's also been a readjustment for the industry and people getting out of it in a sense. But I think the hustlers who hustle stay and stick around, and people respect that and see it and understand it. I don't know. It's been a weird few years, but it's a cyclical business regardless. It's going to happen. It happened in 2008. It's happening now.
Let me comment though on the time blocking thing that you mentioned, because, and this goes for like any other LO that's listening to this. This is just my personal experience, but I went from when Sarah knew me, which was like flying by the seat of my pants, just fucking, like out there to sell and fucking make money. Right. But I had zero, like, I wasn't a business person. You know what I mean? I was like a true originator. And then I got involved with the core, and that, like, I really went to the other side of things, and now everything was system, structure, process, like to perfection. And I still have a lot of that today. But what I also started to notice is that there's only a small percentage of real estate agents that really run their business like a business, right? Like, you only have certain teams that are doing 50 or 100 plus transactions a year that really understand how a lender would also structure their business in a way where you're maybe not calling that lead immediately, or you have somebody on the team doing it and it's kind of a doctor-nurse situation. So I had made that transition and everything was fucking dialed in. And then I started to lose agents. Then I started to hear, well, nobody ever got you. It was always the team. Everybody ended up, we're talking to other people. And I had heard this before and I thought, well, fuck, dude, what am I not doing? What am I not saying to get them? Because it's obviously me not explaining the value of having the team that's making them think that. So it was always like I would take it on my responsibility to get better at explaining the team and how I ran my business. But after a couple of years, I just realized that it didn't matter how perfect that system was and how good of a job I did at explaining it. The reality is most agents, not all of them, but most of them, they want to know that fucking Shay's picking up the phone.
Yeah.
That's because they trust you. You're the one who sells them, and
but then
you have a great team for the back end. But like that's what we make sure is we call every client. We do not have our assistant call with clients. Now we will set that expectation for once you are under contract or when we're gathering documentation. You will be hearing from Marjorie, but we make the first initial call. We do. And
here's where I struggle with it though, which is awesome, and that's what I've had to go back to. But where I struggle with it is, okay, how do you scale that? Because you get to a point, like, look at how Gavin has evolved.
Pass it off after.
Like, you know, like there's nothing that he's doing in the process.
Right.
Yeah, but Gavin's Gavin. And we could all...
I don't know about that. There's plenty of Gavins all around the country that run their business like that. But it's like, how do you...
Until you're there, I feel like you need to put in the work with your face being it. And when you get
I know. I felt like I had done that, though.
By passing things off, and I get that. But and we'll get there one day, too. But I feel like until we get there, it needs to be us making the initial conversation and us communicating with the agent. But that's our job.
And also...
But the thing that... Okay, here, I get where you're going. Because I've seen you in sales scenarios, right? Like we've taken out agents to lunch together before, and I see how confident you are and direct and... This is how I work and this is what I do. I see that. And I know that Gavin does that similar because I was at Citywide when Gavin took Citywide from a small and it blew up, right? And I saw his team blow up and he would add people onto the team. So I don't know if it's a difference in the conversations that I don't know because you and Gavin are really similar. I really do see that. I don't know.
And we've done some core paperwork before and it wasn't for us. So I feel like people's successes, whatever works for you,
that's it.
Works for you.
That's it.
Right? Like,
and don't analyze it to death, right?
Don't analyze
like if it's fucking working, then do that.
Now you can always make tweaks. You can always be better. We can always be better. We can always better our system. We can always better our processes. But that's life. Nobody's fucking perfect. So you're going to learn that while you go. And as long as you're a grinder and as long as you give a fuck about your business, you're going to constantly get better. Yeah. So it's like, I think it's just to each their own and whatever works and grind it out and hustle it and do you.
How many do you guys have a target each week for how many agents you're going to try to call or lunches or any sort of measurement?
So we did that before. We had the core paperwork, the greatness tracker, like make this many calls, have this many lunches, face-to-faces. I think we do that pretty naturally and pretty organic. Like I never really got to answer your question on how I prospect, but I am massive on social media. And I know it's probably not healthy, but in the morning and at night or when I have free time, I'll get on there and I'll go on agents' posts. I will comment on posts asking questions that elicit a response. Then if they have a response, I will get in your DM and I will ask you for a meeting. I don't care who you're working with. You can have a meeting with me. And I show love and I reshare other agents' stuff. And all it is about love right now. And then now we have agents recognizing us and asking us to go to lunch or go to a meeting or go to that. Awesome. So it's like, it's just showing so much love and getting in there and communicating with people and genuinely caring about their business. How are you doing right now? The market is fucking crazy. Like I see you still out here closing deals. What are you doing? Validate, you know, and then.
But sometimes we'll go into meetings, you know, we don't even like to say it's meetings. Like if we'll go to a lunch or a coffee, we go with like friendship first, right? Like sometimes we don't even talk about business at all with some of these people. It's just more like get to know you, you get to know us, understand us, like how are you doing, how are you feeling, and then maybe a business conversation comes after that.
Was that a conscious choice to do it that way?
It's just what happened.
Just the way you do it.
Yeah.
Like one of our biggest agents, our top agent right now, I was in her DMs, right? And she agreed to a lunch, and we went to lunch. We did not bring up business once, but it was like a 2.5-hour meeting. She's literally like our best friend now and our biggest agent. So it's like people, and with the court, like, and some of them say, like, sometimes agents are like, are you making your Tuesday agent call that you need to hit? Yeah. So we try not to come off, because it works for other people, but it doesn't really work for us. It's not in our personality type, so we never come off like salesy. But sometimes we're like, hey, what can we do to help your business? Like, what can we do to help you? We'll do that. But we're like, we want to work with you as one of your 3 preferred lenders, and this is why. And everybody's just like, oh fuck. Kind of like how some title reps approach us. We're like, oh fuck. Yeah. But
I think people see us as our personalities more than ever, right? Like, we're kind of entertaining, we're pretty funny, we're pretty fun to be around.
And you see title agents now coming out the woodworks because they know refis are kind of creepy.
Right, yeah.
We've had some people are like,
whoa, there's 7 title agents lined outside of my office right now. What's going on?
Do you want to drink coffee? And then there's some agents that give a fuck and do their research on us, and they're like, hey, do you girls want to golf? And we're like, thank you.
That's cool.
You know?
Yeah, that's great.
It's fun though.
That's
good.
It's
fun.
So when you...
No, I was going to say, when did you open this branch? Because when you left AmeriFirst, it was, I think I went to US Bank before you left AmeriFirst. Or maybe right around the same time.
No, you went to US Bank first.
Okay. What made you make the transition over to Gavin? I didn't think it was a shock. I wasn't shocked by it, but I was like, that was a good move for you to do. That was my first thought.
Yeah, I think, you know, and like, I still, like, everybody that I worked with back then, I still think is amazing, regardless of what they may think of me. I really have great memories of that time, you know, and, you know, Kenovan and Dan and Deluzio and everybody that worked there was awesome. I loved that I was able to feel inspired by Dan, like on a deep level on his Tuesday meetings. Like, he had a way of leading with, what's the word I'm looking for? He led with inspiration, I guess, where it's like you realize for yourself what it is you need to do to be better, and that's what motivates you to go and do it. And I feel like Dan was good, always sharing his fucking stories from the Bible and shit. But I just got to a point where at the time I was the top guy there, and and the only people I had to really look at to be better next to were guys doing less production. Yeah. And it was Dan and it was Kenovan, and I think Deluzio had started to come up at that point. Yeah. And I just, and I've been friends with Gavin. I mean, I don't know if you know the story, but like, I met him when I first moved to Denver, and I've always stayed in touch with him. And, you know, we would get together for lunch every few months just to catch up. And then I remember him asking me, like, dude, like, I want you to come work with us. What is it going to take to have you come work with us? And I just didn't really answer that. I go, you know, I don't know if I'm there yet, but he goes, fine. If you're not going to come work with me, you got to join the Corps. And then it was literally like 2 months later, I was going across country and I had just started the Corps. Yeah. And my fucking team blew up. Yeah. Right? Because I feel like there was too much change too soon. Yeah. You know, it's like you're changing companies, you're learning a bunch of new people and processes and, you know, their way of doing things. Yep. And then on top of it, I started the Corps, and it's this super rigorous, like, you know, it's hardcore, man. Like, and I would say
there's a lot of change
for anybody that's experienced the Corps with level 1 and level 2, like, that is like fucking child's play compared to level 3. Like, you have no idea the level of accountability and the fucking intensity, and you want to show up because you've got 2 other people in your group, and you're going to look like a fucking idiot if you show up and didn't compete at least. Right. So it just, the system with the Corps was amazing in terms of how they had it set up and how you change coaches. But anyway, so that's what happened.
People better than you.
I think so, but then there's also something to be said about being the big fish in the little pond. I don't know. Like, one of the reasons I left is because I wanted to be around bigger people. Yeah. But if I'm being honest, there's also been a feeling while I've been where I'm at now that, like, some of these guys are so big that, like, you know, I'm not even in, like, you know, you've got guys with cross country funding right now 100 loans a month. Yeah. Think about that.
Figure out, man.
Right?
Like,
this is what I'm talking about with scaling, right?
Yeah.
Like, this dude's not fucking taking lead calls.
Yeah. Oh, God, no.
Right?
No.
So I don't know,
but he has people under him that do.
People under him that do. Yeah, a lot of people.
Now, is it all his production or is it?
It's all his production. Yeah. It's 100% his production. And I've learned some of the little tidbits because Gavin was coached by him. So Gavin got coached by this guy, Matt Weber. He's the number one guy with cross country out in Florida. But anyway, but then there's some other guys with, Brett just moved to NFM and Daniel Saw's doing like 400 fucking loans this month or something crazy. It's like, and I'm sitting here like, dude, what am I doing wrong? I feel like, I know. Yeah.
Are you still in the core?
No, I was. Yeah. So I was in the core for just shy of 5 years. And then I had gotten to a point where I was like, you know what? I felt like at that point in my life, everybody was fucking telling me what to do, right? I have a fucking psychiatrist, a psychologist, and my fucking wife's telling me what to do. I've got fucking my business coach. There's meetings that Gavin's having to, and I'm just like, dude, I got to a point where I felt like inside disconnected, like I couldn't make my own decision without going and like almost asking permission first. Yes. And that's when I was like, fuck that, dude. I've lost myself.
Yes.
And I can't.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Why?
Yes. What? Just because we don't really, we have certain things to hold ourselves accountable, but when you're getting bigger and you are on social media all the time, you do have people commenting and judging and saying, because sometimes we will go on vacation, but you know what? We take our fucking computers every time we're working. People are like, we've been hearing more and more lately, like, you girls are just partying, you girls don't care about your business, you girls this and that. Like, I will fucking run circles around you like you don't know. But I let it get to me much. And I'm like, do I just stay in front of my computer all day, every day and make a million calls to be worthy to have people? You know what? Fuck that. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to do what serves me because it's hard right now. And I blame myself for everything. Like, if we're not getting a bunch of deals, and I blame myself and I beat myself up. So if I want to
like
go,
my sister from another mister, dude. I feel like
like if I want to go somewhere and I want to go on a vacation and post a picture of me laying out by a pool having a cocktail, fuck you if you don't like that, because that's what feeds my soul. But you better believe 30 minutes later I'm on my fucking phone, I'm checking shit and I'm getting shit done. So I feel you there, and I don't want to ask for permission. To be, is that okay with the public? Is that okay with you?
So what do you have to say about like not even looking at comments?
I mean,
because some people say, you hear Joe Rogan talk about this, he's like, do not ever look at your comments, but he's on a different level, right?
Sometimes it's not even comments. It's sometimes people will be like, oh, hey, I heard this person say that about you.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like people in the industry and stuff. And it's like, at least you're looking at me. At least you have something to say. At least I'm making a splash in your brain.
Which is better than not. And by the way, I think we need to think of ourselves as performers. When we think of like a Michael Jordan, you think of a Kobe Bryant, you think of any an entertainer, right? Any performer, like nobody's giving them shit because they're taking their private jet to Vegas to perform that night or whatever, right? And so like having the mindset and just knowing I'm a fucking performer and in order to fucking do all the shit that I do, I've got to take care of me first, right? And fuck you if you don't understand. And I think it's just knowing inside. Now, if those comments come out and like you think you're slacking, then it's a call to action.
Correct.
And I think that's probably a good thing, right? Because it keeps you on your toes. But just knowing what side of that coin you fall on.
What side of, like if I'm not paying my bills, if I'm not feeding the people around me, if my assistant isn't doing well, then it's like let's reflect. But if sometimes, and it's the summer and we want to go on a couple vacations and it feeds my soul and I'm not depressed all the time thinking how shitty I am at my job, I'm gonna fucking do it.
The core would make you take 4 vacations a year. They would make you do it. Like it was part of the coaching. Right?
Yeah, I
because
can see that.
To perform at a high level in anything, you've got to have time for yourself. You have to have it. And it's one of the reasons why we're like so many of us are fucking burnt out right now because we're not making the money we were making, which means we're budgeting and being more conscious of some of these trips that we take, which means we're fucking carrying more stress. We're not as effective. And ultimately that all translates out on our clients. and they get the brunt of that versus having us at our best. So I think
and
if
I
that's
think
in the budget, fucking do it.
Yeah. And it comes with, for me at least, it comes with a sense of guilt in a sense as well. Not guilt, like, I don't care what people think of me. Like, social media is a double-edged sword, right? We need it for the business, but I am not one to pay attention to a goddamn thing. Like, she's like, oh my God, that's so-and-so. And I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes I'll meet people and they're like, oh my God, I follow you on social media and whatever. I'm like, I don't know. Or you know what I mean? Like, I don't pay attention to it as close. And that's to a fault of me as well. I'm freaking mother on my own.
She means from her son.
All these, right,
for
my son, right? Like I get 8 days off to myself a month, right? Like I'm pulled in 18 different directions. So I just feel like, and I try to feed this to her. And I'm like, stop feeling guilty and stop feeling like, like you deserve this. And we work so hard and just fuck what everybody thinks. We have all these different opinions.
You heard something last week and it got to you for a little bit.
It did. But then I'm just like, I know.
Well, dude, it's going to get to us. We're human beings like that. We want people to like us. We want to feel loved, right? We want to feel like we're, doing the right thing and like we're
taken seriously. I feel like it's a part of us that I feel like people don't take us seriously because we do show our personalities, we do show our fun, we do show our life outside of work.
We are
blonde and women. You know what I mean? I just feel like people look at us two different ways, and maybe some people fall in the middle. Some people are just like these fucking blonde bimbos, and then these girls who are
I was gonna say, do you feel like that is something you guys have to contend with because
of
100%.
All the time, because we'll hear it all the time. Oh, people just work with you because you're pretty. People just cool. I'll fucking take that. If that gets me in the door with somebody, great. But when your loan is going astray and you need somebody to close it, we're so fucking good at what we do. So you might think we're pretty and that might get us in the door. I don't give a fuck. We'll close your shit, and we'll close your shit early. We'll close your shit great.
Close things that other lenders can't close.
Many save the day deals last year, like over 20, almost 30. And it's like, so you can think whatever you want, but if you want a lender that can close your loan, you know who the fuck to reach out to. But it happens.
Damn. I feel like we should just end it there.
Just kidding. No, but that's the fun of being in the business too, right? We're in a business that, I mean, you can meet so many different people, whether it's clients or agents or like we have how many people in Denver do you think we actually know personally? Like thousands and thousands, right? Like you meet so many people and people are going to have their opinions, and that's why I choose not to read comments on social media. I really don't. And I kind of use social media as like an entertainment thing. I don't really pay attention much to like what people are doing on a day-to-day basis. She does, right? I'm just more like, let me find the funny
that's because that's like you're good at it and you enjoy it, right? And it's part of your business, right? No.
But I mean,
you probably enjoy it to some degree, right?
Extent, yeah. Sometimes I'm like, oh, fuck it.
Yeah. I think what's tough is when it does become such a critical piece of the business. That's where you can start to not enjoy it.
Yeah. It works.
Watch that.
Life is fun.
It is fun.
Work is fun.
Yeah. Life is very entertaining.
It is very entertaining.
What's next for you and your branch? What's your goals? You're staying in mortgages.
Yeah, good question. Well, so a couple other companies I'm in the process of launching. One's a media company. The other one, I'm an equity partner in a company called Fight Fingers. And so check it out, fightfingers.com. It's we launched it as a utility device for fighters, so UFC fighters. We have it patented, which is really exciting. But cool. So if you think of and now we're going to open it up to every sport that involves fingers.
Okay.
Because I know. Yeah.
With your fingers.
Well, hey, maybe they break their fingers too. But you have athletes that injure their fingers. It's over 25% of every injury is a finger injury.
Yeah.
And so with especially fighters, the only thing they've ever been able to do is use tape, right? Yeah. Well, tape isn't a very good substitute for fingers that are sprained. They still can't really use them.
Yeah.
Right. And it's really not protecting them that much. It's just kind of maybe it's getting by. Right. Yeah. So what this is it's like a plastic composite, like a graphite almost insert that's hard. It loops over their fingers like this.
Yeah.
it's sized for their hand, not like custom sizing, but it's like small, medium, large. Right. Think of your headphone inserts, like something like that. Yeah. And then the exterior is a gummy, like a silicone kind of gummy. Okay. So it's approved through all of the all of the associations for sports because it won't hurt somebody. If it didn't have that gummy, then they wouldn't let us use it or fighters use it because it could hurt somebody. Right? Yeah, we had it patented. It was about a 5-year process. And my partner is, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Oh. And so he's very well connected. We have our first athlete that we just sponsored, this little kid. His name's Cam. Shout out to Cam if you're listening, but he is ranked in the top 10 in the world right now. And he's 10 years old. That's crazy. So it's exciting, but it's brand new. You can go to the website fightfingers.com, but so there's that, the media company, and really so
it's your strategy to exit mortgages?
No. Really,
each other multiple times. We're like, do we stay in the industry? Like,
no, because it's just. It's what I'm good at. It's what I know. I just realize I have to recognize it's just a moment in time, and I just got to figure out a way to get through that moment in time, and then all will be well again, right? It's not the end of it, but it did make me think maybe a year ago that, God, dude, no offense, I love all the realtors that I work with, and I'm grateful for everybody that's helped give me the life that I have. But at the same time, do I really want to be chasing agents 10 years from now? When I'm 55 or 60, do I want to be doing that? Yeah. And the answer is no. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So what do I do is I make as much as I possibly can in the next 10, 15 years and then maybe have something on the side to be able to exit.
Always throws opportunities at you. We've been dabbling in the fix and flip industry now, and some supplemental income here and there, but it's just
oh, cool.
I mean, we could plan as much as we want and say we're going to do this and try this, but life is just wild, and sometimes you meet people and opportunities present themselves. Who would have known you would have made a fucking silicone thing for fingers?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's just the people that come in your life, and it's just as long as you're a grinder, and as long as you want more, and that you want more for yourself, it will come. Put yourself out there, work hard, be kind, do the right thing.
By the way, I want to share this story with you guys because I love everything that you just said. I think that for anybody listening to this that is man, they're down on their luck, they're broke, they don't have money, but they're trying to figure out what to do, and maybe the mortgage industry is something you've considered, or real estate is something you've considered. It's a phenomenal industry. It's made tons of millionaires, right? There's a lot of money to be made in the industry, but at the end of the day, just fucking do something and put 100% into it. Make sure if you're going to be calculated and try to pick the perfect fucking thing, try to at least pick a vehicle where you have the ability to make money on the other side, right? Don't pick a field where you're never going to make more than $100,000 a year. Pick an industry, and usually it's going to be an industry in sales to some degree, right?
Bet yourself.
So,
to bet on yourself.
And this comes full circle. So I did that when I came here from California about 15 years ago. I was working with Dan. I knew nobody here. So I'm I just got to figure it out. So I literally started calling real estate agents in Boulder, because in my mind I thought, okay, somebody told me there's more expensive homes in Boulder,
remember the
jumbo loan. It's you're always trying to reinvent yourself, right? I was the jumbo loan expert at one point. Everybody gave me shit for that, but I was cold calling agents in Boulder County. Now I would look up their profile online and go, oh, okay, this person looks like maybe it's somebody I would want to work with. And that was how I would judge it and make the phone call. So I get this guy with KW, his name's Chris, to agree to have coffee with me. Yeah. So I go and meet him for coffee. Long story short, that is now my partner in Fight Fingers. From 15 years ago, we became best friends, all from a fucking cold call.
What's his last name?
Chris Mayer.
Wild.
Yeah, Chris Mayer. So he was married to Carly Mayer. They've since.
We did a loan for them.
Yeah, we did. You remember them? Good memory. But
see, you never know, and that's what Sarah helps me with too, because I was so focused on planning ahead, the future. Where's this going to come? And she's stop stressing and making all these scenarios for nothing that's here yet.
Live in the moment.
Do you try your fucking best? And I've really been trying to do that, and I've been way more chill.
Well, it's like you're borrowing problems from the future. Right?
You don't know what it's going to be. So why are you creating all these scenarios in your head and stressing about something that's might not even be something?
Like,
so
we've had people on the podcast that have completely changed our lives with certain things. Like, you never know. Put yourself out there. Do your best. Grind it out, and it'll fucking work out for you.
That's it.
Trust the process and enjoy life. Just love life. Love living every day. We get to wake up every day. We get to share new experiences. We get to see new things. I get to see my kid grow. I get to see you grow. You just love it, right?
Hey, sorry to do this like on the air and then we can wrap up, but would you guys ever be interested? I know that this is sometimes like, I don't know, people don't want to do this, but I always thought it would be really cool to find but legitimate. This isn't just a way to recruit, okay? This is like a legitimate, and it could be in the mortgage business or outside, but I think there's got to be some play in the mortgage industry with it, but like a tight fucking mastermind where we meet once every other month even, but have like people that you think are badass, that are your people, that are fucking doing the same thing, where we can meet up and if nothing else, just shoot the shit and hang out.
Conversations with other lenders in the business, because everybody right now in the business is butting heads, right? We're fighting each other. We're doing it, and it's just, but we have a mutual respect for each other. Like the big players in the Denver market, in the mortgage world, I think it would be a great idea to get everybody in one room, and
this is not our
whether it's business or not. Let's just all support each other, because it sucks. It's hard. We're fighting against each other. I'm competing against you, and it's not a competitive situation. Let's show everybody, like real estate agents can do this, right? Why can't lenders do it?
Yeah, we should. Yeah. It should be more about collaboration right now than competition.
Exactly. Yeah.
We are all in this shit together.
Well, guys, I could keep talking to you forever, and this has been one of my favorite podcasts for sure. Like, it's been fun having you guys on here. Yeah.
The shooting range, but
that's awesome.
Change clothes and everything.
Thank you for
having us.
This was great.
We have Gavin on our podcast next Wednesday.
Oh, cool.
We're gonna get you. You should come on. I don't know. We're kind of winding down on our. Okay, anyways, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Peace, guys. Love you.
Bye.
Turn that loss to a check. Every time that I see a limit, I push right past it. Don't care if you got here first. The one to win is the last one standing. Say my life is like luck. Nah.